High on the dot here. Welcome everyone. Hopefully you're having a fantastic week. We had a nice recharge week last week with family vacation, but have been on the road all week this week in Detroit, Minneapolis, meeting with different corporate clients that we've got and getting their feedback on the platform and ways that they'd like to see it grow and develop for their corporate use, and obviously for your individual use. That's a positive thing because it impacts you as an individual user. I'll share with you a couple of things that we're going to be working on based on some of those conversations. For those of you who are first timers, this is all about, it's called the Bar Smart Reprice Smart software. We say it's where mindset meets skill set, because this call is a lot about mindset and skill set. We're going to talk about things that are both tactically and technically helpful to you as a user of the tool. And with our guest speakers, we're also talking a lot about just, again, the general psychology of presenting and developing relationships with your clients and stuff. So it's really, in many ways, it's not what the software does. It's what the user does that makes this software so powerful. So we're hoping to simultaneously upgrade you as we upgrade the software and the platform. If you're a first-time user and you're not familiar with the basic premise behind the software, our goal is to have the ultimate pre-GFE sales presentation tool, so that all this money you've spent on licensing and company marketing and tools and systems and trainings and events that lead to that lead coming in the door, when that happens for you right here, that what happens next is you'll be able to have a very cool conversation with your client that dramatically increases your conversion rate. And see people say, what is this all about? To me, it's about having a conversation that allows someone to engage and move forward. One of the corporate clients we were with this week is one of the largest retail producers of mortgages in the U.S., and they're finding that a lot of their challenges right now come from explaining to clients clearly and effectively things like should they get an ARM or should they get a fixed, or how do I answer questions. And it's interesting to see how many large corporate clients we've talked to are literally still using Excel spreadsheets and things like that to try to communicate simple loan comparisons. So we want to be this big place right here, that key place where you're going to make that sale, and then you're going to transition into a 1003 for processing and closing. This is really the back office, this is your front office, and this is the transition that makes all the front office effort really work for you on the back office side. We based this entire platform around something that we had learned could increase conversion rates by 70% or more, based on a lot of work we did in the late 90s or early 2000s. Can the client afford it now? Do they have the cash? Can they afford it now? Do they have the cash flow? Or can they live with the cash flow? And can they afford it later? What's the financial wealth impact over time? This tool's fast, easy, and accurate, delivers clarity and confidence. It leads to quick action. And we did a demo the other day with a client, and recently I've been showing people how you can basically begin a position to do a plan very, very quickly with just a few fields of information. We have time today. I'll kind of go through and just take you through that and make sure you know how to set up your defaults and things so that you're in a position to literally put in 4 or 5 fields of information and be able to generate a quick plan. So on the weekly updates, I wanted to share progress. We have now in beta the dynamic HTML reports, which is the ability to publish the report directly to the web. We're testing that this week. We'd hope to have it done, but actually our problem has been holidays. Coders and developers and myself, we've all had alternating schedules of being on vacation and whatnot. So it's been a little slower getting some of the stuff rolled out, but we're testing the dynamic web reports now. We are awaiting a few changes on some code for the video integration to begin testing that. We're also simultaneously working on some new reporting capabilities that would alert you of all the interaction. We're finding that what some of our focus group people have shared with us they want is almost like a report card. So if you publish your report out to a client and they go view it, you get not just that they view the report, but what did they do there when they were at that report, and what can I tell you about their visit? For example, they moved the time frame from 7 years to 12 years. could we put together a little report card that says Jane Doe went to the site, moved the report card or moved the time frame from 7 years to 12 years, changed the loan amount from 210 to 220, because again, our goal with these dynamic HTML reports is that they'll be able to see the report you created, but they'll be able to interact with it, and you'll be able to learn from that interaction, and that's pretty fun. So, it's fun. We're having a good time, and we're learning a lot as we develop this, and hopefully when we get it live and get it out to you, it's going to be another transformative aspect of how you use this in your practice. We're actually working on the commercial investor component, and the LOS system and the integration there. Our developer will be flying out on Friday to meet with the other group that's helping us with that through Mortgage Success Source and that whole integration, because this is now a Mortgage Success Source tool and platform. So we're working together, which is exciting, and we're looking at that integration again with Encompass and Calyx and some of the other LOS providers out there to be able to do this hot syncing capability, import, export, things like that. So a lot of cool stuff happening there, and we have not been focusing much on the smaller pieces. There have been a few small changes, nothing worth really reporting. I will tell you that we're getting a lot of requests around the reverse mortgage side to put more content and more capability there. So that's something we're currently looking at and scoping. And if you have, again, ideas, things that you think are important to you, simply let us know. Let's jump over, because I want to get right in. Jeff has got so much, I believe, to share with us today. Jeff I've known for a long time, phenomenal loan officer, but one of the first things I noticed is I looked in the system and he has 295 active client plans in the system. So there's probably a lot we can learn from Jeff. Anyone that's gone out and created 300 plans has probably not only mastered the tool itself, but has probably mastered how he goes about communicating what it is that that client needs to understand about the process. So I'll start off by welcoming you, Jeff. Thanks for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Todd. Looking forward to it.
Hey, and then so I usually start off kind of giving a little bit about your background. So tell us a little bit about, when did you enter the business? How many years have you been in the mortgage business?
Let's see, I came from the commercial real estate business. I was doing sales there almost 20 years ago, 18, 19 years ago now. And I started with a bank, and a small bank, then a big bank, BSA, for a couple of years. And then I had my own brokerage company for about 14 years. And now I'm a branch manager in Irvine at Broadview Mortgage.
Okay, so you're at Broadview. So how many total? My apologies. 19 years you've been in the business. That's pretty cool. So you've seen a lot of transition, a lot of changes over the years. What would you say in the recent years have been sort of the thing that you've learned or noticed the most about the mortgage business? How's your effort and your practice transition in the last few years to adjust to all these changes?
Well, I'm probably doing the business the way I was told to do the business when I first entered it 19 years ago. Very prompt on my follow-up, and I'm working intimately with realtors, and also with we keep in touch a lot with our past clients as well, email, mail, and phone calls. So I got away from that during the especially the realtor side of it for a while there, and it's really paying off, especially with all the technology like this that we have today.
Well, that's I always like to ask people what their main focus of business is. What percentage of your business comes from realtors, and are they your primary referral source, or would you say you actually get more business from existing customers at this point?
Well, with the rates going down, it's kind of changed a little bit. I have 39% of my business right now is purchase, and that's about 23 loans and about 7 purchases, I think, is where we're at right now. So that's higher than normal on the refi side, but it's just the nature of the market right now.
Sure. So I'm going to do the math here and assume 61% is refinance. That sound about right?
Yes.
So you're about 1/3 purchase, 2/3 refinance. And of that purchase business, is the majority of that business coming from realtor partners?
Yeah, it was interesting because it's the ones that are in process right now. There's 6 different realtors, and then one of them is a past client that is an escrow guy that I'm he brought the loan to me. So basically 7 different people. So I'm excited because in the past I always had 2 or 3 main realtors and then not much else going on, and now I've got about 10 or 15, maybe even 20 that think about me, and I'm getting stuff from.
That's a healthy stable of realtors. What's been your main approach for developing your realtor partnerships?
Your platform, education, and really service a lot, so we work with, and also obviously communication is huge with them, because that's a pet peeve, that people don't get back to them or their clients.
So it sounds like that's true with both your realtors and your current clients, that a key part of what you do is staying in touch through active communication.
Yes.
That's cool. Now, I always like to ask, if you don't mind sharing, what's your best year in the business? What's kind of your peak performance year in terms of total production?
I bet you this year will be.
This year? Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
I mean,
what do you think?
It's been I had a tough couple of years, but I think this year is on track to being it. It's different. If you want a dollar sized, when we were doing I'm in Orange County, we were doing a lot of $1 million properties and stuff, but we're not doing as many of very few of those anymore. So unit-wise, it'll be the most this year.
What do you think you'll end up unit-wise for the year?
I'm hoping for about 60 to 80, somewhere in that range. It just depends on this refi thing.
Sure. So 60 to 80 units closed, and your average loan amount is in the, were you in the
Not
500,
anymore.
600?
350. Well, it's different. Purchases are 350 to 4, and the refis are closer to 500 right now.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. If you were talking to a newer, because we've noticed one big shift of late is the number of new loan officers who are actually coming into the industry. When you think about your 19 years experience, what would you say? What advice would you give to them right now coming into the business if they were just starting out?
Well, I would really make you've got to figure out some sort of a solid referring source, if it's going to be realtors, financial planners, or divorce attorneys, or whatever it is, and work them. And what I find is, from the first time I meet somebody, realtor or financial planner, it may take I rarely get leads or referrals or trust for 3 or 4 meetings. So you have to actually do a few meetings, and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. You're just getting to know each other, especially the financial planners.
And you work with financial planners now. When you go out and get those realtors, what would you do differently to call on, say, a financial advisor versus, say, calling on a realtor for new business?
Well, I have more weapons for the realtors. Between educating their clients with this, and then we also use e-property sites a lot for them too. So we have stuff that just is like little shiny treats for them that they can come chase us with. With the financial planner, they don't really care about that stuff as much. They just need to start figuring out how to trust you and know that you're competent. And I think that just comes with time.
Sure, and the patience. If you expect to go out and see somebody and meet them the first time, and they just start rolling over and saying, "Rub my belly," as we like to say, and send me clients, that's probably less likely to happen. So you find that it takes a series of contacts. And if you're talking a new advisor, how many new contacts how many contacts or touches would you need to have before you find they start to trust
a financial advisor?
Clients? Yeah.
I sometimes, if they come from a referral, it's a little bit easier because they may have been searching for somebody anyways. But I'm in a pretty good networking group that's basically accountants and financial planners and attorneys, and it's more than 2 meetings with most of these guys. It's because they already have relationships if they've been in the business for a while.
So for an advisor, 2 to 3 touches to have some kind of contact. The networking groups has come up before in these calls, getting involved with a local group of CPAs, financial advisors, being that mortgage person in that group. How about for realtors? How many touch points do you find that you need for them?
Well, it seems like one of the things we try to do is we try to go after the listing agent really aggressively, in the sense of just We call them weekly. We send them updates all the time, and we involve them if there's issues and let them and give them updates and stuff. So we get a lot of touches with the listing agent during the process, and when we come out of that, a lot of times, I mean, I have 2 or 3 agents that are referring me business right now that it was just through that process, and I still haven't met 2 of them in person. They won't meet with me. They've been too busy, but they're still referring me their business. So that's interesting. But for the most part,
That's cool. They've seen enough because of the
I think
drips.
you need. What we do is when we target a realtor and when we've met with them, we're going to put them on like a 60-day plan. They're going to get some emails, but we call them every Monday. What myself or my loan partner does, and we just say hi, what's going on, and see what they're, if there's anything that we can help them with, and we just kind of get them used to talking to us. So I would say a lot.
I like that, man. That's old school. That's old school, as we say. Nice blocking and tackling. So you actually go through your core list and just make a physical call every Monday to say hi, see what's going. Do you do that because they may have activity over the weekend?
We try to get them to. There's something that's in Mortgage Marketing Animals, which is called the Monday Morning Fact. And I haven't had very good luck with getting them to actually participate in the sense. But just anybody from an open house, they just send over to us, and we'll make contact and let them know what's going on or pre-approve them if that's what's needed. But to be honest with you, I haven't turned that very well. So we still do that via phone call.
Very, very cool. Well, let's transition into the BSA, because I know you sent me sort of a strategy that you're using right now effectively. And I thought what I'll do is I'll just kind of, if it's all right, I'll turn it over to you. Let me see if I can do that. Do that effectively. Let's see. All right.
I can see it.
You are still seeing my screen, aren't you? You can see it. All right, good. I just want to make sure it was still sharing. I've gotten to where lately I just don't trust anything. All right, there we go. Let me take this out, and I'm going to click on you, Jeff, and it should pop up on your thing there somewhere that you can take control.
There
and
you
just
go.
Click share your screen.
Did you get it?
Or share your desktop. Got it. Everybody, yep. Everybody should see Jeff's desktop now. So kind of take us through and walk through the email that you sent me and a sample plan, and how you're using this in your practice. I thought it was really cool the way you're approaching going through and using the planning process to send out updates to clients that say, hey, take a look at this. Here's some things that you want to do. It's like you've got a.
So
do you use this email that you sent me as like a template?
I've done in this scenario, and actually, let me do something really quickly. Well, basically, right now I'm incorporating your software with either Snagit or Jing, and I send them out basically I do an analysis for them. In this scenario, they're at 4.875% here.
Uh-huh.
And basically we'll show them how much they'll lower their payment, but then if we keep their payment the same, how much really they'll pay off the loan, and what kind of interest savings they'll do. And either attach it.
So you're literally you're going and doing a plan for them, and then
then
you're just
they've
sort of
got either.
pasting in a couple.
I'm
of
kind of
key
new on
numbers
your
here
your
to
web
get their attention.
Your web-based PDF. So I'm doing that a little bit, but I always have the video. So if you just click right there, they're going to get the video that comes up. And I don't know if you guys can hear it, but then I'll just
Corey, this is Jeff Young.
I'll just go over the whole scenario with them.
I wanted to give you a quick rate update.
And I find with this that a lot of times I just get somebody coming back, let's go, tell me what I need to do next. Because it's so like this gentleman right here, we did it, and he just emailed me back, I want to do it. And just send me the loan app. So for refis, it's really good as far as that. And what I try and do is I try and manage it so that they're going to show a little bit of
so you'll go through
more of
so you'll take it.
Getting out of debt sooner, I think, is much more attractive and much more powerful than just saving $150 or $200 a month. So I really try and get these guys to get the concept of just keeping their payment the same and seeing the power of, paying your loan off 4, 6, 8 years earlier.
That's great, and that fits in with our comment of find a groove for you that you like, and do that consistently. So if that's focusing on early mortgage payoff, do that. Just make that your consistent first effort, and you'll find a groove that it consistently pays off for you. So Jeff, you're going through and taking a prior closing or something like that, and you're just taking that information in, creating a quick plan for that client, and then doing a little video and sending it to them, and then you'll have people that will see that and go, "Hey, that looks great."
I had a new loan
and then
officer
contact
come
you
in,
back
and I was showing him.
It's like a very custom advertisement for why
And
they should
basically,
refinance now.
what ended up happening with him is, we sat here. I showed it to him. I sent it out. We went away for a half an hour, and I came back, and we had an email back. Let's go for it. I mean, that was a separate scenario too. So I mean, it's a pretty, it's a pretty good way to graphically show the power of refinancing. Because a lot of people don't want to refinance because they don't want to go from 27 years back to 30, or 25 years back to 30.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And so talk to us. I know last week we had John Thompson. He talked about
I did
doing
the
sort of a
two-page for sure.
two-page summary, and then he would show the graphs and the
Almost
charts.
every time.
What's your
And
sort of
so what I'll do is,
go-to report format?
This is the 2-page right here on the video screen. And
Cool.
and so this page right here is really just is all encompassing, really. It shows the difference in rate, the difference in payment, and then the difference in savings right there.
Uh-huh.
And then right down here, it's really powerful that you just refi for no cost in this scenario, I believe, and you go from 360 months, which is not quite accurate. I think we talked about that, but to 323. I think they were taking 2 years off for free, or 3 years off for free if he kept his payment the same.
That's great. So you focus on the payment repay. You keep it real simple in your video. I see your video is 2 minutes and 46 seconds. So you do a quick overview, set up the sort of the introduction. And for everybody that is not familiar with this, with your Snagit or Jing, all he's doing is going through and scraping and recording that screen. When I talked earlier about the new work that we're doing now with the HTML reports, that's what I'm talking about. We're actually working to integrate in a dynamic screen recorder so that you can publish the video to the web. The clients can watch the video and then actually interact with the report. So there might be a slider on this page or two where the client would see what Jeff has done here, but maybe they could slide over.
The one thing I try to do always with this is on a purchase, I don't just send it to the borrower. I send it to the realtor as well. And I try and get them to send. I mean, I call them and I say, hey, you need, take a peek at this so you know the payments and what they're thinking about, so you can help advise them. And it's amazing. That's just a little bit of the process of selling the realtor to how you're different and how professional you are and how you're taking care of their clients. So I always tell the client I'm going to CC the realtor, and I'll send it out to them too.
Well, that's a great point, because you're constantly communication to the realtor. There's nothing more interesting. I got this question the other day. How often can you contact somebody before they get tired of hearing from you? And I'm like, it's not about the frequency of contact. It's about the relevance of the contact. If you've got a client that a realtor sent you to buy a home, and you've just done a presentation to that client on why this is a good idea to buy this home and how much it's going to save them over renting, I can guarantee you that realtor is going to be interested. They're not going to say, don't send me that junk anymore. You send a realtor a market update every day, they may say, I don't need quite that much information on the market, thanks. That's when it's not as relevant. So anytime you're sending them something about your client, you're communicating to them, which is important. But again, you're communicating about something they care about a great deal, and you're reinforcing the professionalism, because how many of their clients are getting a
Yeah,
professionally
I'm
recorded
way
video,
over getting it perfect.
which takes Jeff, just a few minutes, 2 minutes and 46 seconds to create. I'm sure you didn't do 10 versions of it, Jeff. You just went through and recorded the screen and sent it out. Is that correct? Yeah, you just go through. It's very conversational. It's not doesn't have to be perfectly put together, but you can send it out and say, here's what I got for you. But I love the fact that you're prospecting with that, because if you've got downtime as a loan officer, as an advisor, whatever, and you've got some basic information, you could go through, put that plan together, and send it out as part of your
one of the other things how
day-to-day
I've used
marketing efforts.
Borrow
You're
Smart to
sending
save
an
me time
incredibly
with the
targeted,
Jing or with the
incredibly
Snag It. And you guys,
relevant message to that
these are free.
person
I mean,
that allows them
these
to
things,
say,
you just
"Gosh,
go
Jeff,
download
this
them and
looks
they're free.
great.
I would say
I wanna
Snag
move
It right
forward."
now
The
because
testament
Jing
that they're
is
responding
supposed to
back,
be
"Let's go
phasing out
forward,"
towards
is
the end of
cool.
the year. But I pay for the professional version. It's like $39. I mean, it's really cheap. But a lot of times we have a CHDAP loan, which is a down payment assistance program in California. Then we have an FHA loan. Then we have 5% down yield for the mortgage insurance. So I was always comparing that for people. So I just made one. And now when they want to find out about a CHDAP loan, I have one, I just send them. And then it's all done for them, explains CHDAP. And then if they want to compare down payments and costs, I send this other video. So I don't have to recreate things if it's something that I do more than once.
Do you
No,
find that if you're inside
I bet you
of your office
not as
or
high a
whatever,
percentage
and
of my
you have
clients
a
come
client
in,
come
maybe
in or
20%,
are you doing
as
any
maybe in
live
other areas.
demos, or
But
do you tend to
yesterday I had
do
a guy
most
in
of
here
your
for
work
the
over the
VA
phone
loan, and we
just
went over
sending
this,
stuff back and forth?
and we were talking about paying $100 more, $200 a month, and all this, and he said, great program, I love that, and so they really got a lot out of it.
Yeah, would you mind kind of going back over to your screen and kind of when you go through, because this question comes up, if you're with a client, what would you tend to show them?
Purchase or
say,
refi?
In a live, in-office kind of a conversation.
Sure. Well, like
what
this
areas
one,
do you tend to touch on?
what we did with this one is I made
What
it
areas
look
do you
down
find
in
that they
very simple
respond
form. They're
really well
renting
to?
right now at $1,900 a month, and
both.
their
If
new
you
payment
got
right here on a
sample
VA
of-
loan was going to end up everything all in $2,572. Can you see my screen? And so their payment went up. He was going, oh, my payment's going up $670 or whatever that was. And I said, well, not really, because I go after taxes, the difference is only $100. But then we shoot back up here. Look, you're paying $682 down in principal too. So you're ahead of the game right now versus renting.
Jeff, that is such a good point, Jeff, and I often forget to point this out when we talk about, especially on a purchase transaction, or even in some cases a refi, is that when you show that payment difference at the bottom, like someone the other day was showing a 30 versus a 15. It was for a financial advisor, and the payment down there was going to be a lot higher on the 15. But if you go right up and show them the principal difference, you can see where all that extra payment is going. If your payment's going up $300 a month, but your principal's going up $400 a month, then on a relative basis, you can show the client.
Well, in this scenario, we had a gal that
the
wanted to
payment's
kind
so
of
much
rent. She was
higher.
nervous
It's the
about
fact that
committing,
you're applying
and the
so much
husband
more
wanted to buy
principal.
him. And so we did that.
So
And
that's pretty
when
cool.
we shot
to
down
see-
here, and I
you
go,
see
just
that
look how
in that
powerful it's
way.
going to be over the next
Your
10
payment's
years.
going up 134,
And
but you're
first I
picking
did
up
it with zero
682 a
appreciation.
month. It's coming. You're paying
So I
that
just
to
said, if we have
yourself.
zero appreciation
That's
over
a
the
pretty
next 10
compelling sales
years,
tool.
you're going to be better off by $108,000 or over $10,000 a year from renting. And that's renting with a 3% increase, which is a cool feature. I just started using that. I didn't know it was there. But then if you even get a little bit of appreciation, say 2% over that time frame, you're going to be better off $20,000 a year over the next 10 years by doing this. And they were like, they're going to buy the house. They know it makes economic sense.
And you've gone through the three questions we always talk about. First being, can I afford it? Do I have the closing costs to make this work?
Well, I think,
Address the monthly payment.
especially
and
for the
address
people that are
wealth
renting
income.
right now, so
Do you
more
find
the
on a
first-time home
purchase
buyers or the people that
those
are
three questions
coming back out of the
play
rental
or do you find that
market,
people are
this is really
just
powerful,
focused on
the
cash
10-year
flow,
plan.
how often
well
do you hit
scenario.
all three questions?
Because
and
they
how
know
often
they're
do you
doing
have to
something
take
good for
one or
themselves.
two?
If nothing else, if they're not putting into their 401k, they're still, unless the market goes down, over and stays down for the next 10 years, they should be better off than they are just renting. So that's pretty powerful. We use that all the time. But I think really
Yep.
cash, the payment is huge out here because a lot of guys out here, they're pushing their payments. They're at, we're at 45, 48, 49, 52 back-end ratios depending on the program we're doing. So we're a lot of times we're struggling to get these guys qualified and they're maxed out. It doesn't change that much, but let's see if
If this was a refi, maybe you have a refinance you could pull up. How
he has a
will you tend
15-year fixed right now.
to go through a
And,
refi versus a purchase? What are the things you point out?
He has two different parts. This is a rental property. It's 215 at 6.25. So this is a no-brainer as long as we can appraise it out. It's up in the mountains, a second home. But what we went with this is the same way. We just looked at a 15-year fixed, and at 3.25, and showed him that his payment is actually going to go down on this scenario, and two different ways to look at it. And then we just looked at what I try to do then is just focus on this. He's going to be paid off in 126 months, save this much money versus 156 right now where he's at. So it's pretty much the same strategy there. Oops, sorry.
Cool. So he's got a net savings of
It just depends on the client. I kind of read them as we're talking.
That's cool. So you still end up going down, just
young
showing
or just,
the cash
really
flow
tight.
difference, and then hitting on.
Or what we'll
wealth
do
impact.
sometimes
And
is we'll go
do you
into
find that you're
let's
spending more
take that money and
time,
apply it to the
sounds
credit
like
card
you
debt
did,
if they
you're
don't have any
focusing on
room to
repaying more
to do
than the
anything
saving
else
for
and
your
try and get that
clients,
stuff
because
paid
it's
off
easier
and do
to
the
see
debt snowball.
the earlier payoff in the same cash outlay. Mm-hmm.
No, that was a good tip. I'll have to
And
learn
I
that
noticed
from you. I didn't know that. I always put the second in
this
there.
scenario, because people ask, I've got a client with a first and a second mortgage. I always tell them to split it out. Do one plan for their forward mortgage, their first mortgage. Do one plan for their second mortgage. It's cleaner and easier than trying to have multiple mortgages on the same screen. Is that the approach you typically take as well?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did. For each house, I have a separate plan.
Yeah, just go in and do, you can have multiple plans for the same client. So, you can just create a new plan for, do a forward mortgage and then click new plan, and then create a separate plan for, say, a second home or something like that. I was thinking that maybe you had two plans for this client in here, and you had that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that's the point for you guys that are on the call. If the client has multiple properties, I continue to find that keeping it simple and just having a plan for each property is usually much clearer for the client. If they've got a mortgage and a credit card and auto and all that, then I'd do one plan with all their debt. But if they have multiple properties, I would do their primary residence with all of their debt, if you're looking at consolidating or paying off that debt or whatever. And then if they have a second home and they've got an investment property, I'd do a separate plan for the second home and a separate plan for the investment property, because it really is much easier for the client to, like in this scenario, see that my payment's going to change and my wealth.
Well, a lot of
impact's
times, maybe
gonna
not in
change,
this
and I can have
scenario,
that
I do
property
like
paid
using the
off,
graphs. So you
much
come down here and,
faster with
bring the graph
same,
into play.
monthly payment.
I think that's pretty powerful for a lot of
Very
people,
cool.
especially when you're going 30
Any
to
other
30
things
and
that you
they're,
find,
and they're
are
24
you
years into
bread
the
and
loan
butter?
to see
Do
how
you
they can
typically
get it
just
paid
use
off
the bar
sooner by just
screen?
keeping the
When
payment the
do you
same.
find yourself going to the repay
I like
screen,
that. I
or
think the
using
graph
any of
helps
the
for
other
people, but I'm
functionality,
still,
or
there's
most
areas
of
in here
it
where I have a couple of partners that I need to get working on with this that I'm not doing a very good job on, and I probably need to get some training from you.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're doing great, and again, I find that a lot of stuff, the training sort of arises when the need arises, and it's okay to just use the part that's working for you now, and this is a very very deep program in terms of what it can do. I know that someone the other day was just showing a balloon and wanted to know how do I do that, and if you scroll down a little bit, say on that, just say that the new mortgage had a balloon, or the first, or say the blue one there has a balloon. I said all you do is click add new payment, right, and you could put in the amount of the balloon in 10 years. Let's just say that in 10 years they owe about 60,000. So put in 60,000. And then put in start month for that would be 120, and then slide the slider over to repay, right? And now you've effectively created an illustration of a loan program that they have today that has a balloon, and then you can, because that's what's going to happen, right? In the 10th year you're going to have to pay $60,000 to pay it off, because that's when that balloon is due. And then down below you could show refinancing to a non-balloon note, and he was able to show the client how they were going to not have to come up with that big chunk of cash in 10 years, which is something they were concerned about. And that's come up a couple of times, but you have a lot of flexibility on this page to create any number of dynamic sort of illustrations. And some people like to have this just be exactly what they've shown on the prior page with graphs. And to do that, remember at the top, Jeff, just scroll up, you just click use same as borrow tab button, and if you click that, it's going to sync everything on this page to what you just did on the borrow page. So now you're just going to be able to present the same thing conceptually that you did over there, but then you can go through, if you don't want to do that, and modify this to any possible scenario, because other people like to show the bread and butter on the borrow, and then they get fancy on the repay and show extra payments and target dates, and I'm going to show you how to be paid off in 12 years or 10 years or whatever, and that flexibility is there if you need it. But again, you want to bring to the table just what you need initially to get the deal closed and to take care of the client. If the client needs 8 units of effort, don't put in 25, put in 9 or 10. Get the deal closed, take care of them, and then you've got time to come back. Which is what I wanted to ask you,
emails
Jeff,
and other things outside of
communication with your
the
existing
BSA.
clients and stuff. Clearly,
Yeah.
this is a form of communication, right? You create
Well,
a
we
plan,
put almost everybody
you
we've
send
got
it out to your
on a
clients,
call schedule,
and
so we either
that's
do it twice a year,
pretty
3 times a
cool
year,
way
or
to
4 times a year.
communicate with
And we don't
them.
do it every
What are some
single
other
time,
ways
but
that
we
you've
get reminded to call
communicated
them
with your
based on
clients
what
to
we
stay
think
in
they're,
touch and to keep them interested in you when
what
they're
their
not
needs
really
may
fine?
be, or maybe what kind of referring source they might be, so how close to stay on top, and that's with closed clients. Broadview also does a mailer.
Yeah, just what are some of the
out
other things
once
that
a
you
month.
do? Yeah.
And then I use a great program called Top of Mind for the closed loans follow-up, which has an email that goes out and some cards that goes out.
Uh-huh.
And then I do video marketing. So I'll do maybe 2 times to 3 times a month when it's going well. I'll do a video, and sometimes it will be about loans, sometimes it will be about, for instance, LastPass, or sometimes it will be kind of funny, kind of a thing. And so it's not real professional, but I get it out to 500 people, and usually 80, 100 of them look at it. Yeah, and it's not all real estate.
That's great, and you get a chance to stay in touch, which is really key. Well, that's fantastic. Does anyone have a question for Jeff? I see one question here that came in that says, "How do you get the cartoon on the cover?" And that is just your picture. So when you are, let me bring over the software here. All right, everybody should be seeing my screen. Jeff is able to go in here into his profile, and you've got the ability to change your logo and change your report graph. So he's just putting that cartoon right here on the report graphic, and that puts that right
I think that
on
actually I think I got that
front
cartoon
cover
for me
of his
years ago,
report.
Todd.
And you notice he starts his video with the front page of the report itself, and then he's just going through, and it looked like he was in, Adobe or something, highlighting the things as he talks, which is very easy to do. You just go through and click your mouse, click the highlighter, and you can highlight things as you talk, and that's going to be recorded on the video. But you do that, you change that report graphic right here. And are there any other? You did. It was in our 7 steps class. We had a cartoon for each of the 7 steps there. Any other questions for Jeff? And then we'll kind of jump over and just talk a little bit more about case studies and see if you have any other questions in general about the software. All right. Well, cool, Jeff. You can hang out if you want to. We really appreciate your
That's
your
kind of
time
one of the
and,
things that
experience,
when we get
and I always
like
learn
we're
something
busy
new,
right now, and
when I listen to these
so
things,
they
but,
probably take me
I
about
think it's just fantastic the way you're
30
approaching
minutes.
Reaching out to clients. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool to get a custom commercial. And how long does it take you to go through and
that's
create a plan
that's not
like
a
that?
tough
If you go
plan.
through
If
and
it's
create a
just
plan
easy
and
and
do a
it's rates and
video,
I'm not looking for
what's
stuff,
your
it might be 10 or 15 minutes, but it's
sort
probably
of
10 or
per
15 to
client
30
email
minutes.
that goes out? How much time do you think you got overall?
Well, when I just send the PDF, a lot of
30 minutes.
times
So
it just
go through,
overwhelms
create
them.
the plan, record the video, send it out.
And
It's about
so
30
when
minutes.
I send the video, it
And
goes
then-
up a lot. When I send the video with that overview of the refinance, it goes up tremendously. So I bet you I've just started doing that a month and a half ago, and I probably have done.
What percentage of those custom plans
I probably
that you
at
send out to those
65-70%
clients
of
would
them
you
that have
say
gone
you're able
have
to
come in
convert?
and just said, yeah, let's move forward. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, that's
will.
phenomenal. So you're spending 15 to 30 minutes of time to generate a go forward, which I would assume, based on a 350 loan amount, is worth $5-6 grand to you. It's a pretty good ROI. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time, man. I really do appreciate you spending some time with us today, and hang out if you want to. I'm just gonna see what questions the group has, and just share with some folks something that they may not be familiar with related to thinking about creating templates for yourself, or just making sure that all your defaults are set up and in place. Because if you have your defaults set up, so I'm going to go through and first let's just talk about what defaults I'm talking about. If you go into My Account, you have the opportunity here to set up your defaults, and you can set up your defaults for each of your loan programs. If you put in an interest rate like 3%, it's going to use your interest rate. If you leave it blank, we're just going to pre-populate that for you with the current national average, so that you've got something to work with. But if you want to come in here maybe every once in a while and put in some rates, it'll pull those rates. You don't have to. With your ARMs, same sort of thing. I'd go in the very first time and make sure that this is my little generic version here, but on my main version I've got all my defaults in here. Go ahead and set up my first adjustment cap is on a 7-year ARM is going to typically be what, after 84 months. And my first adjustment cap is typically 2%, and it's going to adjust every 12 months after that. It can go up about 2%, a life cap of 5, and a floor right now of 3. And I'm using a margin for most of my clients of 2.5 or 2.75, and it's based on 1-year LIBOR, and currently that's at whatever it is. What is LIBOR now? About point something probably. Let's just say that LIBOR right now is 1, and that my default is to use a worst case scenario for the ARM, meaning it's going to do the worst thing it can possibly do after that 84 month period. So go through and set these up one time for all of your different things. Set up your taxes and insurance default. Set up your closing costs, typically 1%. And on average in our market, it's $1,800 in closing costs with a 1% origination fee. Set up your jumbo threshold. My property appreciation rate default is 2%. My after-tax savings rate is 5%. I want to highlight the proposed alternative. I have my disclosures, and I want to save all those changes. So make sure you've gone through and set these defaults up. Now what that does for you by going through and setting these defaults up is I want to show you how quickly it is to create a new plan by going through the minimums, the absolute minimums that are required. Because I got tickled the other day. Somebody was like, "This looks too complicated. It seems like it's a lot of work." And I'm like, "Okay, let me just show you how quickly you can do a plan." So it's a refinance. I don't have to have a plan title. That's just there for your benefit. The client's name is Jeff Younger, and his gross income is $100,000. And he doesn't know what his tax bracket is, so I'm just going to do the federal, which is pretty easy. I just come in here and say he's single. He makes between 85 and 178, so that's going to be 28%. So I'm going to use 28% as his federal bracket, which means I'm being conservative. I can ask him his email if I want to be able to put that in there, and I'll put in jeff@younger.com. And that's it. The only other thing I need is his liability. And Jeff says I got a mortgage, and I'm going to put that in. He's got a mortgage with a property value of $350,000. It's a primary residence, 30-year fixed. It's with Bank of the South, and the original loan amount on it was $300,000. He's had this thing for a few years. So he started in 2007, and he's at a 5.9% rate. And his current balance today on it is $265. We do it this way because we have no idea how much extra principal the clients pay.
Yes, I will.
What is their current balance today, so that we can work off that on what the original payment have been. And I click save. I can do this if I want to, but I don't need to. Now that's it for the first page. So I want you to think about what we've done here. We just put in 1, 2, 3, 4 fields, and we set up the liability. And if I go to the bar screen now, because my defaults are set up, not only does it go through and show me. I think Jeff just put me on hold. Angie, can you call Jeff and tell him to take us on hold? Thanks. See, that's the kind of music I've been wanting to work into this whole thing, you know. And
Thank
now
you for
Jeff's done it
holding.
for me.
We'll be with you shortly.
So I'll see if I can talk over it. So I've got the mortgage up here, right? And it has all that information, but you'll notice it's already done for me 2 alternatives. And I can edit these, but they're all done. The products are in here, the interest rates are in here. So I can come in here and change this to whatever I want to use. I can put in, say, jeez. Like I said, so much for technology. I can't mute him because he's one of the speakers. That'd be cool. So I can go through and give this a title, 7-year ARM, and I can go through and give this a title if I want to, 30-year fixed. But all this is done. Look, when I go to here, well, when did my closing costs come in? All this should be done for me right now. I don't know if I just didn't hit the save button when I did my changes, but all of this would be done. Your closing costs would be done. Your payments are done. This is all done with the defaults. I mean, all of the analytics and all of the math, even if I go into, say, like a 10-year time frame, it's going to know that this is my worst case scenario. And if I go out, see, I'm still better off with the 7-year arm to a certain point, and actually with those caps and stuff, that 7-year arm may always be better than the 30. But everything that I put in from the other page is going to come in. This page is done. You could literally come over here and say, this looks good. No, actually, I do want to change this to a 15. I want to compare a 15 and a 30. And hey, don't put us on hold if you're back, Jeff. We got blasted out with your music on hold. So I can do a 15 and 30, and I'm able to come through again. And I'm not sure if I didn't save the button here, but all this stuff is going to be done on this page. I can look at it, see if it looks good, see if it looks bad, see what it is that I need to show this particular client as to the best solution for them, and then go right to the present page. So you can set up your defaults. If you set up your defaults, you're going to be able to come to this page with most of that done. Now, one loan officer who's been working with more financial advisors, because he's been on the call and he's starting to call on financial advisors, that's one of the things that he was doing for them, is going through and setting up the defaults and saying, go ahead and take a crack at it. Put some of the client information in there, set it up, okay, and I'll get you pretty close. And then after you put it in here, all you have to do is come over here and click Send Plan to Partner and send that back to me, and I'll take a look at it for you and tweak it and then revise it and get it back to you. Now, you can also do templates, and let me just make sure you know how to do a template. Let's say that Jeff Younger, this refinance I just set up, I want to make that a template. All right. So here's Jeff Younger, and here's the one plan we created, the refinance plan. All right. So I just click the Duplicate Client button. All right. And what that does, it makes an identical copy of that plan. All right. So I'm going to go through, and I've got an identical copy of that plan now. And I'm going to click the Edit Plan, and I'm going to call this my primary template. So if I get a template set up that I really like, okay, with all of this stuff filled out that I typically would want to fill out for that particular client, now I've got my template. So let's say that I've got a new client that's coming in and I want to use, let's see, I'm going to call this primary template too. So what am I doing? I'm just going through and I've set one plan up, I've copied that plan, and I've renamed it primary template, primary template. So you've got a client coming in and you know it's your primary purchase template, or let's say this is a primary purchase template. So now all I have to do is come over here and click the primary template, and then when I put in the client name, it's creating a new file now based on the client name. But each time I come in, just take your primary template and click duplicate, and that makes a copy of that template, and now I can use that template in my work. So if I've got a primary purchase template and that's what I want to use, I just say, okay, that's the one I want right there. Click duplicate. It's going to keep my old primary, and now I can go in and click that actual template and edit that template and start going through my normal process. Client name, new purchase, etc. And see, everything's being overwritten. I've got my new thing is being developed there as I do it, and it's just taking and editing that existing plan. I've still got my client name purchase primary template here, and then a new client comes in for a purchase. I just click that one, which loads that plan. I click duplicate. Now I've got another copy, and then I go through and say, all right, that's the one I want to use. Let's edit it. And then you're just going through and editing it and saying, I've got new client plan 3, and it's 128 Easy Street. Right? So now you'll see I've got a brand new plan up here in the top, but I've still got my client name primary template. So go through one time, create your template, and then every time you want to use that, just click on it, click duplicate it, and then go in and click edit. And away you go. Everything that you've done from your prior template is going to be loaded up, and all you need to do is come in and edit what type of plan is it, but that would actually already be in there for you if it's a purchase. Give it a title, put in the client name, change a couple of these things, add any liabilities that they have, and then go right into the bar screen, and it should have all of the programs and stuff that you selected from your prior template. So hopefully that helps the tip, because a couple people said they wanted to have I wanted to have an open house template, I wanted to have a purchase template, an FHA purchase template, a VA refinance template. So you can go through and set those up one time with all of your defaults for each of those different types of plans, and just give them a name. And if you're not sure where they are, just come up here and search and say purchase template, and just put it in there and click search, and you'll notice this brings up the client with the purchase template, and then I just go select that, and I can go through, and away I go. All right, so I'm going to see if there are any plans. So the video idea for the day, or the idea for the day, marketing idea, is send clients an updated video with plans showing their savings. Pick a few clients that maybe you refinanced 3 or 4 years ago, go through quickly and load their information into BSA, and put in the new interest rate, and just record a little video and send them a link to the video. And you could see, if you can watch this video. If you go back through the video, you can see Jeff's text there that he put together for his video, and he just pasted in a couple of things: closing costs, no closing costs, $146 a month. This is going to be your savings. And actually, if Jeff doesn't mind me sharing, I'll post a link to his text from his email up with the video on our YouTube site. That way you'll be able to download that and just go through and edit that for yourself. So if he's okay with that, I'll post the video up to the site, and I'll post up the email that he sends out with the template, so you can see how he's sending it out to his clients today, with maybe a link to the video so you can even watch how he goes out explaining it in detail to a client. So it's 2:59. We've got 1 minute to go. I'll see if there are any specific questions. Jack, is he willing to share the 2-minute video? It will help me to shorten mine. Okay, absolutely. I'll go through it. Like I said, I'll see if it's okay with him, and I'll post up his script as well as a link to the video. Jeff Younger, when do you think we'll have the program set up to notify us when somebody views the video? It's all part of this whole project here. So this is the report syncing. We're looking to do that from both mobile and desktop. I changed this out because I've got to get these two tested and awaiting. So I don't want to give you a date. I knew I was making a mistake doing that originally, because that's just technology. But we are in beta with this. We are testing this now. This will be live as soon as we get this last piece of code, and then we can start finishing up the report. It'll probably start off very simple, like client viewed plan, and then it will start to grow and will become more of a business intelligence report that will say client went, viewed plan, here's what they did, here's some information that you might want to know about that particular client that would help you. And Jeff said he'd do a generic video for us, Angie, it looks like is what you're saying. So Jeff's volunteered to do just a generic client video showing how he goes through and explains it. So I will post that up to the YouTube site as well, so you can watch this again if you want to, or you can just go there and access the stuff. And as always, we send out each week with our update for next week's video, or you can always go to the YouTube site. I'll just bring that up one more time here if you're not familiar with the site itself. It is under toddballingeryoutube.com, and that's Todd Ballinger YouTube. So if you've not been to the site before, we've got about 170 videos. You can search in you can search Todd Ballinger YouTube, or you can search like Bar Smart or whatever, and it will bring up that page with all of that information. We normally put the link to that main page there, so if you go to the video, you'll be able to see and access all of the other videos as well. So, start mortgage. Hey, Jeff, it says that Michael Clays, I think, says he may have a video, right? He may have a deal for you in San Diego, or may be able to work with you on a deal. So his number's in the chat box there if you want to reach out to him. So thanks everybody for your time today. I'll get this video up by tomorrow with the additional information, and hopefully you picked up a few ideas. Again, our goal here is to be able to help to upgrade you as we upgrade the software. You can email us with a question, support@kendalltodd.com. Go to barsmartanalysis.com. We'll be updating this here with some new updates and emails and phone numbers so that you can start calling in directly if you have questions or if you're interested in downloading or trialing the software through Mortgage Success Source. So wish you the best. Have a fantastic day.